Hey everyone, I wanted to go over how to fill out the graphic organizers because a lot of you guys struggle with what do I fill out, what do I put here, how do I use these interactive diagrams for these graphic organizers. So I'm just going to record a quick video going over how to do this so you can rewatch this as many times as you need to. So the first thing you have to do when filling out this graphic organizer is find an article with which to use it. So you can find this on our Canvas page, but this is our research hub. We are researching technology topics, and you should have chosen one of these lenses with which to research. So let's say I want to research about communication. I'm going to use this first article as an example with this graphic organizer. So I already opened this article on a new tab. So this is the article that I plan on using in my research paper. What I am first going to do is scan through the article and make sure I want to use it. Then I'm going to start filling out the graphic organizer. The first thing the graphic organizer asks me to complete is the works cited citation. We do the citations first so we don't ever have to worry about formatting these as we're trying to write our paper. I have linked the interactive diagrams to help you complete this citation conveniently right here next to them. So go ahead and open your works cited interactive diagram. Work your way through this diagram just answering these questions and clicking through the buttons. So enter the diagram. You are using an electronic source. This is a source that we have accessed through the internet. And you'll have to determine what type of source it is. We know that this source is a journal because right at the top it says that it was published in the International Journal of Computer Sciences and Engineering. Then we have the formatting that we need to complete for this works cited citation, as well as several examples. So the first thing that the formatting is asking us is for the author's last name, comma, the first name. If we scroll up a little bit, we see that there's one author, and this author is Wasim Akram. So we're going to format this last name, comma, first name on the graphic organizer. So we will type in Akram, comma, Wasim. And the punctuation will be the same as in the examples on the interactive diagram. So comma in between last name and first name and follow that with a period. The next thing it's asking is for the article title in quotation marks. So the article title is A Study on the Positive and Negative Effects of Social Media on Society. So you can copy that and you can paste it into your graphic organizer. Now remember, you need to have the same punctuation in the example. So our period and our quotation mark match what it is asking us to put in the formatting in the interactive diagram. The next thing we need to add is the title of the journal, and that is in italics. So we will go back to our article and copy and paste the title of the journal, and we'll put that in italics. Again, you'll just need to make sure that the formatting matches the examples exactly. So after the title of the journal, make sure that you take off that italics and add a comma. The next thing that our interactive diagram is telling us we need is the volume and the issue number. A lot of times this is really easy to find because they're just put at the top of the article. This is volume 5 and issue 10. You have to be careful with volume and issue number because the formatting is very specific. And you can see that with the examples here. We don't write out the word volume, we don't write out the words issue number. Instead, we put VOL period, comma, NO period. So for the article that I am using, it is in volume 5 and issue 10. And then you can see that I added that comma because that's what I have to put next. So after my comma, I will put the publication date and then another comma. This was published on October 30th, 2017. Again, dates are written differently in MLA formatting. So you can see instead of writing out the date exactly as it's written there, we format it a little bit differently. So when we're formatting the publication date, we need to write it as with this example. So it's the day of the month first, the month abbreviated, and then the year. So day, month abbreviated, year. So we will format our date that same way. So 30th, October abbreviated, 2017. Follow that again with a comma. Back to our diagram, the next thing it's asking us for is the URL. So we will just copy the link. And then we will paste the link in our diagram. The link is followed with a period, as you can see in our interactive diagram right here. And then we need to put the date access. So what day did we go online and read this article? So that would be today's date, which is January 28th, 2021. Again, the date will follow the same formatting that I have in the example. So we will write accessed, the day, month abbreviated, and then the year. So I accessed this article on the 28th of January 2021. That's today's date, the date that I am recording this. I closed my citation up completely with a period, and then I am done with the works cited citation. This is completely finished, so I can X out of this diagram. The next citation that I need to write is the InText citation. Now remember, the works cited citation will go at the end of my paper on the last page. It'll be a list of all of the works cited citations from all of the articles that I have used in my paper. The InText citations are much shorter and much less tedious to format, and they will follow every single quote in the body paragraphs. So I will put a quote, and I will follow that quote with the InText citation. Again, open the diagram for the InText citations. We will click here to enter the interactive diagram, and we will answer these yes/no questions about the article that I am using. So first, is there an author? Yes, we already identified the author as Wasim Akram. Is there a page number? A lot of times with journal articles there will be, and right here you can see it starts on page 347. So we will click yes. So this is the formatting that I need to use. In parentheses, I will put the author's last name, a space, and then the page number. Notice there is no comma after the author's last name. I don't write P period and then the page number. It's just the author's last name and the page number. So for my InText citation, I'm going to put my parentheses, the author's last name, and then the page number. So this starts on page 347, and if I look, it goes all the way to page 354. Now for the quotes that you're using, you will want to put the page number that the quote specifically comes from. So as I'm adding quotes to my graphic organizer, if I get a quote from this page right here that I want to use, my InText citation will be formatted with what page number this comes from. So in parentheses, I will put Akram space 352 behind this quote. All right, so now we have both of our citations completed. We have our works cited citation that goes at the end of our paper and the InText citation that goes after every quote. Now you're going to read the article. So you're going to read the article with the intention of finding different quotes that are going to help you in your paper. The first type of quotes you're going to look for are background knowledge quotes. These are quotes that don't necessarily support the argument that you are writing about in your paper, but they also don't necessarily go against it. These are just neutral quotes that might help us as we're writing our paper. Specifically in the introduction before we really get into our argument, so you need to think about what kind of information do I need to know about my topic before I actually get into my argument. So what does my reader need to know? Some good examples of background knowledge quotes will probably come from the beginning of this article specifically in the introduction. So for example, social media is an online platform which people use to build social networks or social relations with other people who share similar personal or career interests, activities, backgrounds, or real-life connections. So this is kind of like the definition of social media. What is it? It's an online platform. This might be something we can use for background knowledge in our paper. So I could copy this quote and put it in here as a quote that provides background knowledge. I'm going to go ahead and add my citation here with the specific page number that this came from. That way it's ready to go when I use it in my paper. Now I need to decide, what am I arguing in my paper? Let's say that I want to argue that technology has a positive impact on our society. Now I need to go, and as I'm reading this, I need to collect quotes that show that social media has a positive impact on our society. All right, so this category is talking about the impact of social media on education, and here are some positive effects. There are positive effects for socialization, sharing knowledge. It provides an easy and effective way in which students can share knowledge. I can copy that quote if I plan on using that in my paper. It's not super specific, it's a little vague, so you might want to find something a little bit more specific, but just for this example, I'll go ahead and add that on there. Let's see what page that came from. That came from page 350. And I also need to get ideas for quotes that do not support my argument for when you address the counterclaim in your paper. This is really great. The way that this article is laid out makes it very easy for you to find those supporting and not supporting quotes because it's organized that way in this article. So here are some negative effects of social media on education. Students are depending more on the information reachable easily on social networking sites and the web, and it reduces their researching capabilities. Which is why we are doing this research unit to begin with. And that came from page 351. So you can see that as you read through this, you'll read through it a little more specifically. I'm going quickly just for this recording, but as you read through this, you can begin to find quotes that support your argument and quotes that do not support your argument. Now, as you're writing your research paper, you want to focus more on what supports your argument because that's going to be the bulk of your paper. The counterclaim is going to be a very short paragraph in your paper that we address, but we don't spend a whole lot of time on because your goal is to get your reader to think like you. So you need to have way more quotes that support your argument than quotes that do not support your argument. So for this assignment specifically, it's a good idea to have quotes that support your argument. You want to have about 5 or 6 of those at least, because that's going to give you more options as you write your paper. You're going to come back to this graphic organizer more so than going back to the article itself, because that'll just be quicker for you. All right, so I think this shows you how to complete this graphic organizer with a little bit more depth, and you can rewatch this as you're working on your graphic organizers. Remember, each graphic organizer goes with one article. So when you go to work on article graphic organizer number 2, you need to go back to the research hub and you need to find a second article. So this graphic organizer number 1 goes with this article only. All right, if you have any questions, be sure to reach out, but hopefully this will help you in completing these graphic organizers.